CEO of Starbucks makes $57,000 an hour.
Yep, I know where this is going. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'm going to absolutely eviscerate your narrative in 3 minutes.
Meanwhile, the workers at Starbucks barely get by.
The CEO manages and is responsible for a multi-billion-dollar international conglomerate with over 400,000 employees. An employee at Starbucks that is supposedly barely getting by is responsible for putting liquid in a cup.
So many corporations have been undermining and disrespecting workers, and it is time that they stand up and fight against it.
Some corporations disrespect and undermine workers, and the time to fight back against it is all the time. Which is why a majority of businesses are small businesses. Maybe those people got fed up and started their own. You could do the same. But that's the beauty of a free market economy. If you don't like the way that things are done, you can go ahead and create your own. Last time I checked, it's not that hard to make coffee. Did you know that some friends undermine and disrespect their other friends? What do you do in that scenario? You find new friends. If what you said is true, why work at Starbucks? Just go work at one of the other 50,000 coffee shops. No one is stopping you.
We have had enough.
What do you mean you've had enough? This girl looks like she's barely 20 years old. You're shooting this video on a $1,000 iPhone in what appears to be a pretty nice bedroom. Did you pay for that house? Your bed has a headboard, and it looks kind of nice. Ooh, tufted. I didn't have a headboard till I was 27 years old. People that are struggling don't have a headboard. You put a mattress on the floor, or you sleep on an air mattress for 6 months, like I did. You save some money, you get a frame, you save some money, you get a box spring, but you're not out here throwing out an extra $250 for a headboard if you're struggling really that bad.
Across the country, working people are fed up with CEOs and corporations working us to death so they can continue to get richer.
Everyone is trying to get richer. If you go to work, even if you make $10 an hour, you're trying to get richer. So eliminate that part. You said working us to death. If you're going to die, what are you working for? What is that money for? Working us to death is such a dramatic teenage explanation of what's going on. The average person that's working at Starbucks is probably in the middle ages of life. And that's being generous. There's probably lots of 20-year-olds and teenagers. Your low-income average Starbucks employees are usually working part-time or very strange shifts while they're doing something else or going to school. They tend to be unreliable, are not very skilled. But if they work hard and stay consistent and stay valuable, they could become a manager. The average Starbucks store manager in Florida makes $67,000 a year. That's 27% higher than the average salary for the remainder of the country. There's a lot harder and more strenuous jobs where you could risk potentially death, as you're putting it, that don't pay that much. I can't imagine how many mocha frappa lattes you'd have to make to die, dude.
This is why Starbucks baristas are on strike, demanding fair wages and an end to all unfair labor practices.
Best of luck with the strike, but fair wages and unfair labor practices are not to be determined by some squealing teenager in their bedroom or some people yelling in the street with a sign. Fair wages are determined by market prices. If Starbucks was offering an unfair wage, nobody would work there. They would just go to the competitor. They'd go work at Dunkin' Donuts or Pete's Coffee or literally anywhere else. They need people to put liquid in cups so that they can make money, which means that they're willing to hire people in order so that they can get paid. If people were not willing to accept X dollars an hour, they would raise the wage. The only reason the wages are that way is because people are willing to accept that price. What's actually crazy is, let's say that the strike actually works and you're able to shake down Starbucks to pay you a higher wage. All that's going to do is make them strongly consider automated processes to eliminate workers altogether. That plan that you had to get your raised wage might end up taking your job away entirely, as they could just use machines and kiosks to eliminate the employees and eliminate the risk of strike. All this squealing and protesting is just forcing wages up and making the cost of automation seem much more reasonable. You're literally screaming your way out of any job at all.
Amazon workers are on strike too, because it is time for the working class to stand up to all these rich CEOs making money off their labor.
Rich is a subjective term, and your understanding of what constitutes rich will evolve over the course of your life. So you can eliminate the fact that they're rich from the context here. The next part is the making money off other people's labor. Everybody makes everything off of everybody's labor. Did you build your house? Did you build your car? Did you sew your own clothing? No. You worked to earn money, and then you gave that money to some other person that pays another person to work to build that thing. And then you take that thing that you bought with that money and you use it to go make more money. So the making money off other people's labor is everything. That's not a negative term.
We have had enough. The time for change is now.
People need to stop emotionally manipulating these young kids into a perpetual victimhood status. Luckily for them, Bobby Financials is here to edumacate. The beautiful thing about America is that you can create so many great things out of absolutely nothing. Maybe instead of making this video, you should go ahead and sell that headboard on Craigslist, make a couple bucks, stop making this video, work hard, learn a skill, apply yourself, and then you can create success for yourself. And while you're at it, learn about Austrian economics, free market capitalism, free markets, and maybe, just maybe, Try to understand that the most likely place in the entire world that you could go from the person that's the barista to the person that's the CEO that's supposedly rich, that exploits other people's supposed labor, is the United States of America. And perhaps you should recognize that. Just saying.